For me, life has been an adventure that simply started inside a cave in Ethiopia with my animals, traveled with me all the way to the United States of America. As a child, I loved to play with animals, not the pets that you would imagine, like dogs and cats. My pets were hundreds of sheep, goats, and chickens. But every child grows up, and I needed to grow up fast. In order to support my family financially, I started working as a tour guide in the cement mountains of Ethiopia. When I was 14, I received a piece of paper with strange numbers and symbols from a person that I never met before. And that changed my whole story forever.
My name is Wubetu Shimelash. I was born in the village of Oregon, a northern part of Ethiopia near Summit Mountains National Park. Here, a typical village consists of huts made of grass, mud, wood, and stone, inhabited by shepherds and their livestock alike. The Summit Mountains are made up of perilous cliffs, dense forests, and towering mountains. They are the backdrop of my home, and I feel connected to nature here. Even though I live in the United States of America now, each year I go home and visit the community I grew up in and my family. This is my mom, Asjila, my dad, Maro Shimelash, and this is my grandma, Lemlem. As the second oldest of 9 children, it was my responsibility to help support my family by taking care of my younger siblings when I was at home and the animals when I was in the forest. When I was 6 years old, I started looking after my family's animals. We had about 200 sheep, a few goats, mules, and cows. I was a shepherd, but I used to think myself as a cowboy. All of the tools I needed came from the forest. I made my own stuff out of a strong stick. A stick that I would use it when it rained to hit down the leaves of the Gebara. The Gebara tree was my shelter and a place where I meditate. I would wave the leaves of the Gebara into a hoodie that protected me from the nefas, a cold northern wind. In the rain, I was the Gebara boy. When the rain subsided, my friends and I would have a whipping match against other group of shepherds. The stakes were high. Our grazing territory was on the line. Fighting for our territory was like fighting for our country. If we lost, our animals would have nothing to eat. When there was a tempest and we could not protect ourselves and our animals under the Gebara tree, we would hurry to the caves. On the way, we would collect wood and grasses for a fire. Matches were luxury for shepherds in Oregon, so we made our fires by hitting rocks together. Even though we didn't know what friction was yet, we relied on it to create fire. While we kept ourselves and our animals warm inside the cave, we would talk and plan our skirmishes against the other shepherds' territories. When there was nothing else to do inside the cave, my animals were my entertainments. I would ride the biggest drum around the cave like I was in a Texas rodeo. Before I left the cave, I would check my animals' teeth to determine their age. The older animals had worn out teeth. It was my job to sell the older animals and make rooms for the new lambs. My animals were my friends and my job. My family depended on me to take care of the animals. Even though it was a tough life, my animals always made me happy, and I have learned so much from this experience. When the storms had passed, we would leave the cave and travel in search of pastures for the animals. My whole life, I was barefoot and it hurt so bad. As a result, I invented shoes. I would collect grasses beside my animals and wave them into stylish boots. As a young entrepreneur, I began to sell my boots to other shepherds. Business was good. I soon expanded into selling hats made from my sheep's wool. At the age of 10, I started school. Every day, I had to walk 5 hours over rivers and mountains. The difficult terrain was too much for my grass shoes, and once again, I was barefoot. If I was late for school, my teachers would hit me with sticks while making me walk on my knees. To avoid this, I used to run every morning.
This was the school that I used to attend from first grade to sixth grade, and there actually used to be only one building for the entire school, and the rest of us used to learn under a tree for the shed. But like when it's rainy, it was hard. We would just like head out home and not continuing our education. But now it seems like they're expanding, and I've seen a lot of change. And as you can see, there's like a fence around the school. There wasn't before. And also like the school has its own crop, like beans right now.
When I arrived at the school, I got to see my friends, and I loved to study with them. Going back home was more difficult because the day's rain flooded the rivers. My favorite place to study was at the peak of Chanak Mountain. Here, I would write poems and journals about my favorite topics. The view overlooking my village was peaceful and beautiful. I did not have a lot of school supplies, so I would use rocks and charcoal to complete my schoolwork. Sometimes, I would even ride on the leaves of the Gebara tree. Oregon did not have electricity, and it was hard to study at night. I did my work by candlelight, while planting my feet in a cold bucket of water keeping me awake. As the second oldest of 9 children, it was also my responsibility to help support my family. When I wasn't in school, I would work as a local tour guide in the Semen Mountains National Park. I would rent out my mules to carry bags for tourists. When all my animals were busy, I would carry the tourists' bags myself in order to get more income. While I was playing soccer with my friends at school, I met Blake McCoskey, the founder of Tom's Shoes, a company that donates a pair of shoes for every shoes purchased. McCoskey handed me a small piece of paper with strange numbers and letters on it. I didn't know it was a business card until a friend explained it to me in the area to send an email to McCoskey. McCoskey responded and offered to support my education. It was an opportunity that I could never pass on. In 2010, I moved to Addis Ababa, the capital city of Ethiopia, and lived with McCoskey's friend, Trafel Snagiorgis, and his wife Kat Devs for 3 years. With their help, I moved to Iowa, USA for school in 2013. In 2016, I graduated from Scott Good Friends School in Iowa and started college at Wake Forest University in North Carolina. This was my adventure. An adventure that simply started in a cave in Ethiopia.